Good morning. Welcome to Walk, Run, Soar. It is day 32. It's Thursday here. We're doing number 41 in the book. I just got finished running, of course, so yay. It's human. And today, speaking of how much fun and how different and much harder it is to run in Florida, today is called Developing Mental Toughness. Our verse is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. This is from the Message translation. We use our powerful God tools for smashing warped philosophies, tearing down barriers erected against the truth of God, fitting every loose thought and emotion and impulse into the structure of life shaped by Christ. So the story she chooses to tell for this one is when her and a few of her friends decided to train for the Tar Springs Ranch Trail Run, which takes place in California's Central Coast. And they were really excited, booked a little Airbnb and started training, and they said that they knew in advance that it was a hilly course, but that they weren't really prepared for just how hilly, and that there was, muddy hills too, which is a whole different animal. And she talks about that they did enjoy running through all the trees and branches swayed like arms dancing. There was all the foliage to look at and the tangy sweet smell of wet bark and earth. And she says, I felt like we were running through a scene from one of the Lord of the Rings movies. And she says that the hills were steep, and just when they thought, or just when they made it to the top of one, they would look off and see, oh, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. There was just lots of hills, apparently. And she knew she was going to have to tap into some mental toughness in order to finish this race, with a good attitude. Running coaches often talk about the importance of mental toughness. They encourage athletes to cultivate mental toughness by training hard and pushing beyond what they believe they can do. Mental toughness is a psychology term referring to resilience and strength that helps us soldier through struggles and succeed. Mental toughness is key for athletes, equipping them to remain strong, confident, and competitive. It gives us the ability to push past exhaustion, obstacles, and even injuries. So the verse that she used at the beginning is from 2 Corinthians, and she talks about how Paul wrote, 2 letters to the church in Corinth. And in 2 Corinthians, that he was concerned about false apostles who have been trying to shake the faith of the Christians in Corinth. And in our verse, he's encouraging them and us to be ready for battle. We need to be mentally tough and grounded in the truth we know about Christ and the gospel. And going back to running in life, it can be really easy for negative thoughts to creep in. I think we all have probably experienced this several times in our lives, where just that little voice telling you can't do something, or you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or just those little thoughts. And she talks about, referring to the race that she was running, she says, I couldn't even allow the word tired to linger in my mind. I had to throw that word in jail and replace it with words like lift, push, and soar. And that we should do the same thing in life. Whenever we have those thoughts that we know aren't from God, go back to His Word and find the truth that negates that thought and make that our mantra. And she says that all of herself and all of her friends, they all finished, and even though they finished at different times, that they completed the race and celebrated in the rain with tacos and root beer. Our faith step. What is one area where you need to develop mental toughness in your life today? Identify a few negative words or phrases that run through your mind when you are tired or discouraged. Write them down, then cross out these words and replace them with a few words that might uplift you when a race gets hard or the hill gets steep before you, and practice reciting these words. So the one thing that I always struggle with is the feeling like a failure. Feeling like I fail as a wife, fail as a stepmom, fail as a Christian, failure. And one of my favorite movies, and if you have never seen it, even if you're not a mom, if you're a dad or just a single or whatever, this movie is so funny. Mom's Night Out. But she struggles with not feeling like a very good mom. And towards the end of the movie, the character played by Trace Atkins, and he's so funny. He does a great job with the character, but he tells her that God has her right where he wants her, and that he doubts that God made a mistake giving her kids the mom that he did. And then later in the movie, towards the end, when she's trying to be a mommy blogger, so she's writing a blog. At the end of the movie, she says, "I'm a mess, but I'm a beautiful mess. I'm God's masterpiece." And it's true. I mean, we're all a mess. There is no one that does anything perfectly. There's only one person that ever lived on earth that was perfect, and that was God's Son. And none of us. You can look at you hear people say this all the time. You can look at Facebook, Instagram, and you just see the pretty part. Most of the time, you see the pretty part of people's lives. You don't see the mess going on behind the scenes. There is no one that has it exactly right. So always remember that. Our inspirational quote is from Chrissy Wellington, 4-time Ironman world champion. "I go beyond what I think is possible. I punish myself and really learn to suffer." That sounds like super Jerry. "That gives me the peace of mind and confidence to know that when I'm racing and it hurts, I can overcome it. When I get off the bike, for instance, I don't think, oh Lordy, I've got a marathon to do. I think, bring it on." And yeah, I like that. And that almost makes me think about, I think it looks like it was yesterday, where I talked about you keep a training journal when you start to when it comes to running. This is separate from, well, and maybe even in life you could do this too. Keep a journal of some sort, and you're able to look back at what God's done, or when it's running related, go back and look at those hard workouts, and you'll know that can help with your mental toughness. Our training note from Coach Sean: in a race, spend time monitoring the signals your body is sending you. Where are you tight? How are you breathing? Where are you chafing? And where are you hurting? Make small adjustments in your stride or pace to alleviate any hindrances. And that can be kind of hard to do sometimes if you're having a problem, you don't know how to fix it, but you could reach out to a running coach. You could reach out. I ask my stepkids questions about running all the time. Because they've both been running cross country now for several years, and my stepdaughter's going to college for cross country, so I ask them questions all the time. But reach out to others that are more learned than you. It can help with things like that. So hope everyone's doing well today. We're coming to the end of our little vacation here, which is always a little bit sad, but it'll be nice to be home too. So I will see everybody tomorrow.